Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for attending this session. We name it More Than a Pitch, How Sports Venues Drive Tourism and Economic Impact. I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Consuelo Sanchez. I'm originally from Colombia, but I've been adopted in Florida for the last 12 years. And currently, I'm with Pasco County, Florida. That's the destination management organization for Pasco County, better known as Florida Sports Coast. Basically, what we do is market our destination as a premier tourism destination for sports tourism and leisure tourism in general. So, in alignment with this title, what we want to show today is how, besides the sports venues and the match days, tourism venues are attracting a huge economic impact into the area. When the final whistle blows, the impacts of a sports venue extends far beyond from the match day. It's about driving tourism. How? Through hotel revenue, through restaurants, through rental cars, through taxes. And today we're going to have a great lineup of experts who are going to be discussing with me from different perspectives how sports venues are thriving in order to be those champions for tourism. So we have Adam Thomas. He's the executive director for Florida Sports Coast. We have Santiago Munoz. He's with Fever. And then we also have Javier Donas. He is basically providing information about development for venues. So I'm going to provide a few minutes to each of our panelists to introduce themselves.
Hi, everyone. I'd like to first start off by saying to all the fathers in the room, happy Father's Day for the upcoming Father's Day season. So I'm Adam Thomas, just like Consuelo Sanchez just said, that I get the honor and privilege to actually be the executive director of Florida Sports Coast, which is in the Tampa Bay market. We're about 30 minutes north of Tampa Bay, really centrally located in Central Florida to any major destination. We're about an hour and 40 minutes away from Orlando Airport, and we're about another 4 hours away from Miami International Airport. So what we have is surrounded by our product of sports, whether that be on the leisure side and whether that be on the sports side. It synergizes our entire community. We have 746 square miles of a county that calls, as we call it, a destination of Florida Sports Coast. And what really brings us all together revolves around one true product, and that's sports. And that's what really drives our economic development, that really drives our initiatives, and whether we're focusing on strategic plans for sports and building capital investment or our leisure investment on why someone would come to Florida.
Santiago.
Hi, everyone. I'm Santiago Munoz Boullosa. I'm the general manager for Fever here in Mexico. At Fever, we manage the ticketing of some of the biggest clubs in the world, being those Real Madrid, Football Club Barcelona, Atlético de Madrid, among other European teams. We also manage Fever Originals, which is a division in which we produce or co-produce our own events, being Candlelight, one of the most famous brands around that, but we have a few other IPs that we've taken to some stadiums. And we also have and manage Secret Media Network, which is the largest discovery platform for events in the cities in which we operate, being those in Mexico, CDMX Secreta, Monterrey Secreto, Guadalajara Secreta. We also have Secret Miami, Secret New York, Secret London, in which we have close to 300 million unique interactions per month.
Javier.
Hello, everyone. My name is Javier Dona. I am a Stadia consultant. Well, I've been involved in some meaningful projects, as for sure you know. For example, Santiago Bernabeu, the Real Madrid Stadium. And in some of them, others less meaningful, especially designing something that I think that is absolutely key in this industry, that is design the business model before then the architectural design, okay? Trying to be the most profitable possible in the future, in the long term, and not just to design aesthetically. In the last 2 years, I have been leading, Real Betis Balompié, club in Spain that is located in Sevilla, designing from scratch the product, the stadium product, because at the end of the day, the stadium is a product that we deliver to our clients. Our clients, for sure, are the fans, corporates, sponsors, media, institutions, all of them. So design this before to go ahead with the architectural design, as I mentioned before, is absolutely key, and this is my role in the market. After the design of this stadium, I continue my role in the market as a study consultant, and especially I like a lot to participate in this panel with Florida Sport Coast, because it's so connected, the great venues, not just stadium, but also indoor arenas, with the profile of tourism destination. All the business model profile that compound the industry are always connected with this.
Thank you, Javier.
Thank you for having me.
So this is the dynamic. We're going to learn today how from major sports venues, such as the biggest stadiums where we're going to be hosting the World Cup, to smaller destinations that have probably amateur venues, sports tourism infrastructure is more vital than ever. So in this panel, we're going to explore how destinations and venues are working together in order to enhance the experience for fans and in order to drive that economic impact to the destination. So we're going to start with a couple of questions that are going to be very general. So you guys feel free to jump into it whenever you feel like to it. So the first question for our panel is, beyond match day, what role do sports venues play in shaping a destination's identity on the global stage?
Well, I think that's a very interesting question, and in my opinion, while sports are still very local, audiences are global, right? So stadiums are a lighthouse for each for each of the cities, and they're an opportunity to attract new tourists to each of the destinations, right? Even large stadiums, small stadiums, each stadium has its own history. Even if it's a new stadium, you might market it as the most innovative stadium in the world, or you might have a very old stadium which could be attractive to some of the fans, no? So it's all about like building around that fandom.
Perfect.
You know, for us in Florida Sports Coast, so, I'm going to come from a destination perspective. It's the unique selling propositions, right? What sets us apart from other destinations? For us, we have the largest hockey arena south of the state of New York. That's a unique selling proposition to us. We have one of the top paddle facilities in the world, right, as Zephyr Hills. That's a unique selling proposition to us. We have our own indoor facility, which is over 100,000 square foot, which acts as a perfect venue for scouting combines and camps and clinics for top-tiered professional teams. So when we're looking at destinations and we're looking at facilities, sports facilities, even leisure facilities, we look at unique selling propositions and what separates us apart, and that really truly drives the discussion of why someone would want to come to Pasco or to Florida Sports Coast.
Well, when it comes to stadiums, we always think about the match day normally, also non match day, okay? But the last year, especially the last decade, has been a great boom about this, to cover all the non match days. So in this side, at this point, really, we have a great opportunity, because if we think about it, the 92% of the time of the year is non-match day, and just 7.8% more or less, in an average, for a club is match day. For sure, the match day is the core of the business. It's absolutely clear, everyone know it, but you have a great opportunity to cover the 92% of the year round. So for this, it's so good in terms of to become a tourism destination. Okay, it's a great tool to draw people. Even more when you have aligned with the strategic plan of the city. That is so important. I always say that you have to deep dive into all the elements of the market that really impact in the proper business model profile that you need for your stadium. Okay, in this case, you have to take into account, for sure, the strategic plan of the city. If the city has a strategic plan that is focused in tourism, for sure the stadium is a great tool because it's iconic. It has a lot of projection, it's a very strong brand to sell the city as a destination for tourism and for everything. Imagine that, as we said, as we talked before, finally the profile is mass market. Okay, maybe it's other kind of tourism. Okay, but at the end of the day, it's connected with this. It's not just entertainment by funny thing as museum, tour, or whatever. You have to complement with all the service that has Florida Sport Coast, but the stadium maybe is the proper design is to be focused in mass market, for example.
And you have a great point, Javier. Thank you so much. And thank you to our panelists, basically because when you're spending as a visitor money in order to travel to a destination to attend an event, you don't want to spend the time only at the venue. If you're spending already the time and making the effort to go to attend one of these events, you also want to explore the destination. So
Absolutely.
you better work with the venues and also with the city, as you mentioned, or the tourism department, in order to capture the best of that destination and market to your audience.
Can I just add on to that
Sure.
for a second, if you guys don't mind? It also involves community engagement. You know, if you're bringing in these major tourism events, you got to have your community support involved. So gaining support and involvement from your local community, your civic associations, your chamber associations, your local organizing committees, like these are the fabrics of your community. So the businesses, the people need to understand how many people are coming in a particular event on a particular day so they can get ready. Your restaurants, your retails, your attractions, they're all looking forward to these thousands of people that are coming in for a particular event, but you need to have great communication and community engagement in order to create that visitor experience.
Great, Santiago.
Yeah, and just building on what Adam was saying, for instance, today a colleague of mine pointed to me that Celtic FC Stadium, for example, is a top 5 destination in Glasgow, right? It's a top 5 tourist destination in Glasgow. And there's plenty of tourists going to Glasgow just to watch a Celtics game. And they spend 2 or 3 days more in the city, you know, enjoying what else the city has to offer, museums and other experiences that the city might have, now restaurants, among other things.
Perfect. Let's move forward with the second question, which is basically following up to this one. What are the key elements that turn sports venues into tourism magnets capable of attracting international teams, fans, and moreover, events?
Yeah, it all starts with lift, right? Connectivity. I mean, you got to have connectivity to your major markets and hubs, especially international, right? We have to have flight. We have to have connectivity into Tampa International Airport, which is our airport. So if we're talking to teams in Colombia or Madrid, we got to make sure that those teams have flights to come inbound into Tampa. Also, the amenities around the facilities, right? I mean, you're spending so much time on the field or on a court, you got to have the amenities around your sports complexes or your campuses to actually fulfill, again, that experiences that drives the narrative of why someone will come, and then also the organic user-generated content that gets generated when these teams and these players come into town. So connectivity and really just that really share a voice.
Yeah, and I think it's also important, you know, to share through local media, social media, digital marketing, when a team is coming to town, right?
Absolutely.
Because you can generate a lot of engagement on cities nearby, people that want to come watch a specific game or meet a specific player. I mean, I've seen fans travel, you know, all around the world just to meet, for example, Messi, who's in Miami. So I'm pretty sure if he's training there, you might have a lot of fan engagement.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with Alan, especially about all the commuting issue, all the logistics to draw people. That is so important to be very well connected in all sense. Far more, maybe one of the lack that I find more in the market is the need to create the real profile of your product. Okay, in the case, for example, we have two examples in Spain, that is Football Club Barcelona and Real Madrid, the stadiums and the museum, no? And the tour and the museum. They receive more than 1 million people per season, per year, visiting the museum. Are in the top 3 museums more visited in Spain. So for sure, this is the right product for them. Maybe other stadium has not this potential. So we have to analyze this and to invest in exactly what is the line that is going to be our proper line to draw the more potential, the most possible visitor that we have in the potential market. Okay? So for me, this is key. From this, you have to analyze everything. Yeah. Okay? All the elements that impact in this business model profile. Especially if you are a tourist destination, if you have not good connection, you're dead. Absolutely.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
So from this, you grow. This may be the base to create the pyramid. Okay? This is especially my concern, my opinion and my concern in the market.
Thank you so much, Javier. And that's a great point, especially coming from you, that you have this experience in strategic planning and development for venues. But when you think about the sports facilities, usually you're thinking about major stadiums. But what is the key component in order to highlight or the importance for training facilities? How can you attract actually sports tourism through non-major sports events facilities such as training and camps, like amateur facilities?
It's all about building relationships, right, guys? I mean, that's where it all starts. I mean, it's not transactional, it's relational. So once we start building these relationships in key markets, I think we can start establishing these events, right? Am I off base here?
No, I agree with you. I think. Adelante, Javier.
Go ahead.
No, I agree with you. I think attracting audiences to training facilities has also been relevant in the market. I mean, if you think about like the NFL Combine and a few other, American sports, when they build like these huge, training camps, and there's a lot of engagement from the fans, no? So that's, right. I think it's also very relevant.
So at the end of the day, a facility is a complement for the service for your product, for the service that you sell. You cannot do everything on the beach or on the boat or whatever. Okay, all the activity that you are going to have or you're going to conduct really are a kind of, imagine if we are in the mass market, trying to attract the mass market product. Maybe all is based in team buildings, what you are selling. Okay, you need other spaces to complement this kind of activity. This is where you have to put everything in your facility, trying to design, I don't know, whatever. You need to deep dive into it. But maybe residential, maybe you need flexibility rooms, versatile rooms to project whatever. Again, presentations, product, whatever. Okay, this is, I always say to my students when I am in university, well, even the smallest venue have their proper business model profile. And you have to do it, even if you have not a great investment, and you are not talking about major stadium as Azteca or BBVA Bancomer or any stadium of this, or Hard Rock Stadium, for example, talking about Florida, or Raymond James, or Everbank in Jacksonville, yeah. Whatever. Okay, you always in a small facility you have the opportunity to develop your right business model.
Can I tag on to that? Yeah, I mean, to your point, I mean, all these facilities can be used for multi-purpose, right? So you have shoulder seasons, you have strong seasons, you have weak seasons, you have slow seasons, high seasons. But how are you filling the stadium? How are you filling the venue? So for us, we look at our investment. So we have, like I mentioned before, we have 100,000 square feet of indoor space. When we're not hosting a sporting event on the weekend through Friday through Monday, we're looking at Monday through Thursday to see how we can backfill some of these events or groups or fishing shows or boating shows or car shows or something else we can utilize the venue to create revenue and to create additional visitor traffic to the venue, maximizing our return on investment. So that's where we're focusing on right now. We even went out and bought a subfloor so we can host small trade shows, some conferences, right? And we can't compete with a major convention center, but we can go after these small niche corporate planners to really have a unique meeting space, right? So utilizing these venues as a multi-purpose venue is very, very advantageous for us and our return on investment.
Well, this is a good point. You have to identify very well which is your competition.
Yeah.
If you don't identify where your competitive environment, you are focusing just at the wrong point, absolutely. So imagine, for example, when you have said all this kind of activity that normally you conduct in your company, I remember when a zip line, you know, a zip line that was set up in the Olimpico de Munich, Stadium Olimpico de Munich, Munich. And well, absolutely amazing because the architectural issue there is absolutely outstanding. It's a roof that has different forms that come from 1972. It's a very old stadium, but it's an iconic stadium because the architectural issue. Yeah. So for this, they draw a lot of people. And so they decide to set up a zip line in the stadium. So it was amazing. It's just one revenue line. But they identified that to draw or to fall from the roof of the Olimpico de Munich because the roof is so known for the iconic ways that they have, for the iconic shape that they have, was something that is going to draw the people. Yeah. So you have to, at the end of the day, you have to identify your competition, the competitive environment, and also where you can create the product from nothing. Mm-hmm. I'm very long now. I always say with, you know Fenway Park? Fenway Park, you know yep. Fenway Park? For sure, Alan, yep. Fenway Park. It's the Cathedral of Babel. They have there, in one side of the ballpark, they have the Green Monster.
Yes.
The Green Monster is an icon in the States, yeah. Absolutely icon. They have created the location over the Green Monster a long time ago, more than a decade. Okay, it's sold out. It's the worst place to attend a baseball match.
Really?
It's the worst place, but it's sold out. Why? Because it's the experience to attend a match, to watch a game in the Green Monster, or over the Green Monster. Right. So they are creating a product from nothing. They have the icon for sure there. Yeah. Okay, but you can find this icon, or you can find something to create this product that is gonna draw the clients. Okay.
Yeah, and I think it's a very good point that Javier is doing. I mean, how can you build a cultural rhetoric around a specific sport venue, no? Like the rhetoric it was built around the Green Monster. I think venues need to think about how can they, you know, build a cultural or fandom rhetoric around their spaces. Yeah.
And that's a great point, Santiago, because the next question is very linked to that. So what are the emerging trends for sports facilities that are reshaping the relationship between venues, between fans, and between the host cities?
Yeah, well, I think that's a very interesting question. I think venues are redefining themselves as multi-purpose, venues, right? And yeah. It's not only about when you go to a stadium, you watch a game. Now you also want to go, to an immersive experience outside related to one of the, most important players in the team. And after that, you also want to go to the museum, of the team. So it's becoming more of an experience around the game more than just a specific game.
I think that that's important. And I have to add something, Santiago, something that I notice in some sports venues. They bring in different attractions in order to provide experience to different audiences. With this, for instance, if you're bringing your kids, you can have like these murals where you can kind of climb, or they bring like RV gaming so people can experience beyond the match. Also, considering that they create these VIP experiences where you can sometimes interact with players. Not only that, but you can take the picture, go to the middle of the field. So it's a great way to increase revenue for the facilities and for the teams, but also a unique experience for those families attending these events. Okay, so let's move forward with more target questions. I'm going to start with Santiago. Santiago, your experience is more on the fan engagement, so I'm very curious to see how digital platforms have revolutionized in order to attract more audience and provide like a better experience for people looking forward to attending sports events.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's can you hear me well? No. Yeah, I think that's a very good question. And I think it's important to see how you can transform a specific venue into a cultural landmark, right? So at Fever, we've helped several venues within this cultural transformation. For example, one of our main products called Candlelight. We've taken Candlelight to the Atletico de Madrid Stadium. We've done it at Hokkaido Stadium in Japan. We've done it at a few stadiums in the US. So we're complementing the offer, the entertainment offer that a venue has to offer, right? We also have a specific drone show in which it's a stadium format that we did at the LA Dodger Stadium, for example, right, where it was off-season. We have another IP called Rockin' 1000, which is 1,000 musicians playing the same song at the same time, right? So that's a very interesting, and it's in a big stadium format because you need to fit 1,000 musicians, right? You need a big and significant venue. So I think that's a way that Fever has been helping in this transformation, right? So once that you have, or you turn the venue into a cultural asset, right, with a lot of different events, you then need to give that stadium visibility, right, to attract fans to visit those experiences. I mean, Fever is a discovery platform that has, its presence in 40 cities, 300 million users. So it's a discovery platform that venues can use to, promote these different events that might have during the off season. And we also have the Secret Media Network. As I described before, we have 300 million unique reach within our Secret Media Network in order to promote these events at these specific venues. No?
Perfect. Yeah. Javier, I'm going to go ahead with you. So you have great experience in infrastructure and venue investments. So from your expertise, can you please tell me what kind of investment strategies have proven most effective in transforming venues into tourism assets?
Well, normally the investment, you have to be very, try to analyze very well before to go ahead with the investment of the stadium. One of the points that I mentioned before is trying to identify the right business model profile of your stadium. Imagine if you have a stadium that, as Alan has said before about the logistics, that was so important to be connected. Imagine having a stadium that is not very well located. Maybe you have not a great airport, you are not in the main lines of connection, and finally you want to draw concerts, major concerts, whatever, Taylor Swift or Coldplay or whatever. This is absolutely wrong, because for the promoters, it's difficult to include in their tour your city. So to put the investment in your stadium would be a mistake to use this investment to create an event, a stadium profile, okay, business model profile. So before it's analyzing this and trying to invest in the right lines, business line that are going to be the most profitable for you, okay? In the case of some stadium, for example, the stadium at the end of the day is the identity that remain the longest term in a club. You have the badge, you have the jersey. The badge you modify increasingly often, the jersey the same, but the stadium normally remain for 50 years or 100 years, and you modify just a little bit in some cases. Okay, so this is the image for you. Okay, so it's a great, strong brand for the projection of the clubs. No? So with this, you have to identify very well how you put the money in the product that is going to be your identity for the next 50 years or 100 years. In this case, you have to identify if this investment is going to be good for you to have a museum because you have a great, strong, iconic brand, so you are going to draw a lot of fans, as for example, Real Madrid and Barcelona.
Yep.
And you are going to put the money in other kind of business line or kind of profile that could be nice or could be commercial area, as for example, Johan Cruyff Arena or Allianz Stadium in Turin that has a Dodge area, something like this. Okay? This is the right way to do it. This is the right way to do it. One of the points that I want to stand out, is, well, this should be in the early stages, before the architectural issues, before the architectural content, architectural design. Because otherwise, maybe you have not the clear condition to do everything. You are going to have some limitation that it's going to impact in your business plan in the future. And when this happens, when impacting your business plan, we are not talking about the next 2 seasons, 3 seasons. We are only talking about the lifespan of the stadium. So in the next 50 years, you will have limited condition to generate the most profitable possible that has the potential market.
So you have to think long term when you're planning for
Absolutely.
these facilities.
Absolutely. This is one of the most critical points that we have in the market. Really, for sure, in the state is absolutely different because you are 20 years ahead of the rest of the market. Okay, but especially in Europe, we have the lack of this. Okay, maybe you have not the business model, or you have the wrong business model, or lack thereof. What is the meaning of this? That the long term is going to be difficult to generate the money that you need to get the payback of the stadium, or even to be profitable to compete with the rest of your rival. Okay, this is so important. So to invest the money in the right way, you have to analyze everything to create the right business model profile.
Yeah.
Thank you, Javier. So, Adam,
Yes.
from your destination experience,
Yeah.
we've seen that you have positioned Florida Sports Coast as a premier sports tourism destination for amateur sports. So please tell the audience which factors have been attractive to position Florida Sports Coast as such.
Well, we went through a whole rebranding of Florida Sports Coast back in 2018 and launched in 2019, right before the pandemic. You know, great timing to relaunch a brand, right? But it really, going back to my comments before, synergizing the entire community, the entire destination around a particular product. And for us, our product was sports. It synergized our entire community, and our community embraced that. You know, the people, our residents, our citizens, they're the fabric of our brand, right? They're our brand ambassadors. And when they come on board with you and build a destination brand with you, you know you have something strong and tangible that people are gonna relate to, right? And so that's what we did in Florida Sports Coast in Pasco County. We built something based on what the community needed and based on what the industry wanted, right? In Florida, there wasn't anyone that was cornering the market in sports. Yeah, everyone dabbled in it, but no one actually owned the brand of Florida's sports, right? Florida gave us that big global brand of where we were actually located. Sports was our product, and then the coastline, which is on the Gulf of America now, is around 23 miles. So Florida Sports Coast gave us a big brand of where we were located and what our product truly was.
Thank you, Adam. So where you're a marketing agency, where you are representing here a destination, a venue, a league, a local club, it is important to connect all these dots to realize that sports tourism goes beyond a venue. So Santiago, you have given us great perspective into the importance of digital and fan engagement. Javier, you have provided us with great insight of how sports facilities planning goes beyond the just infrastructure, and there are multiple components that you have to look into long term in order to have a successful venue. And Adam, you have given us great perspective of the importance of a destination marketing agency such as Florida Sports Coast. We have 4 minutes, but I would like to ask you guys to share something that would be important for the audience in order to increase awareness of how important it is to connect all these dots. I'm going to start with Adam.
I'm going to kind of bring it down to the local level. It's important for us on many different factors. You know, our industry really drives economic development throughout our destination. And when we bring in events and when we bring in teams and we partner with these event holders or events rights holders and they're bringing in their events into Pasco County and the Florida Sports Coast, we raise the level of competition for our families, right? Our families don't have to go anywhere. They can stay in their own home. They can stay in their own bed. And we get to really bring in competition for them to play in our own backyard. So that's what truly is the beauty part about what we do, is really we generate an economic impact on the community without any kind of economic impact on the community.
Thank you so much. Santiago?
Yeah, I think that was a very interesting perspective, Alan. I think my perspective is that obviously there's been a growth in demand in international, sports teams in general, and there's more tourism that is moving around to, visit specific venues in different areas in America, in Europe, etc. And it's really important to guarantee these fans, secure and fair access to tickets, to be able to visit those venues and sports teams. And I think that's only solvable through, best-in-class technology. And I think at Fever, that's something that we've been working with venues to helping them, solve that issue that we've been having with international ticket buyers. For example, we have a white label solution for Real Madrid, Barcelona, which is one of the most powerful white label solution, which is embedded directly into their website. And it's the only official sales channel, so it's clear for fans that they're buying in an official ticketing platform. Obviously, we have fair access through one of the most sophisticated virtual queues. So when there's a lot of international people trying to buy tickets, we ensure that's possible in the most efficient way and with the best technology. And I think guaranteeing these fans a good access to these sports and venues is also really important.
Perfect, thank you. Javier, last but not least, we have 1 minute and 40 seconds. Please provide your last insight.
For sure. It's my fault, it was so long. So, well, to wrap up, 3 words: tailor-made, segmentation, and flexibility. Well, tailor-made got 2 words, but doesn't matter. Okay? Tailor-made, you have not 2 stadiums alike. Okay, you have always to analyze in a personalized way every project, every proposal, every design. Okay, this is so important. Segmentation, I think that was Santiago that has mentioned before. You have a lot of different fan profiles in your potential market. Yeah. You have not 2, 1, or 3. You have in a stadium of 60,000 or even 20,000. You have a lot of different profiles. You are bound to design experience personalized for each different profile that you have in your market. Okay? This is absolutely mandatory. And in the case of flexibility, we are designing venues for the next 50 years. Well, the market is so dynamic, so it's changing a lot, increasingly often, so we need to be flexible with our design to match the expectation, not just from the present, but for the future, the short term, not the long term. Okay.
Thank you so much, Javier. Thank you to our panelists and thank you to our audience. I hope that you guys understand the importance of thinking beyond the venue, thinking about economic impact and working with your cities when planning these events. Perfect timing.
Thank you. Perfect timing.
Thank you. All right. Let's go.
Should we take a picture? Can we take a
Yeah,
picture of
yeah.
here?
Let's